Hi everyone, so in this video I'm going to do a comparison of these two filofax planners. On the left is the filofax Holborn in the pocket size, and on the right is the filofax Malden, also in the pocket size. The color of this one is black and the color of the Holborn is brown, allegedly. It's brown, but it's like very dark brown. I'll try and insert a photo like that shows a little bit more of the brown color in like window lighting, but I am filming this on like, you know, like a desk, like an office area, so the lighting may not be super great, but it is quite dark. Even just comparing them side to side, they look very similar in color, but it is brown. In the product photos for the Holborn, I feel like this brown color looks a lot lighter. So just an FYI, if you really wanted this one for that kind of like mid-tone brown, this is definitely a lot darker. This color is so similar to Taranishi's Antique Black, which is actually one of my favorite fountain pen inks. It kind of has like this dark, soft brown color mixed in with black and like a tinge of gray. That's like the best way I can describe this color. It has a slight cool tone to it, so like a little tinge of gray, which would also kind of match the contrast stitching here, because the contrast stitching is like this light grayish cream color. And that's also why I like the brown one, because the Holborn in the actual black color is not like, doesn't have like this contrast stitching, at least from what I see online. But you know, who knows, maybe the photos are not super accurate, because it makes this one look way more like lighter than it looks in real life. But I do like that this one has the light contrast stitching, whereas I think the black version has more of like an unassuming darker stitching. This one is also a little bit bigger. You can kind of see it slightly, like it's slightly longer and like slightly wider. And I'll just show you guys like all around so you can kind of get a look of how it looks on the outsides. There's just like very slight little aesthetic design differences between these. Like the Holborn has this kind of like skinnier, like little button flap closure. And it has this kind of like interesting little flap design piece here that says filofax engraved in it. And same with like even the side stitching, there's just kind of like an interesting, there's like a look to it for sure. This one is definitely a lot more minimal. So it just has the filofax like F emblem kind of thing here, but there's no other indication of it saying filofax on the outside. It does have a button closure that does say filofax on it. So that's also kind of like a different design difference. And the button is like a vintage dark metal kind of color. Antique is the word I'm looking for, like antique silver. The other big difference between these two is the leather, like the material. So both of these are made of leather, but as you'll see with the Malden, there's kind of like this sheen to it, like much more of a shine. And that's because like there is definitely some kind of like finish, like some kind of like coating to it, I guess, maybe to protect it, or it's just the look of it to make it look more like shinier leather. I wouldn't say it's like patent leather, but it's kind of almost similar to patent leather. So what I've read from like watching older videos of people with the Malden is that the Malden like kind of changed the way their leather feels. Like apparently it used to be a little bit softer. I'm not sure because I never had the older like batch of Maldens, but some people were complaining that the leather is not as soft and supple and nice as the older batches. And that may be true, but I would just do your own research on that. But I did find that interesting. I don't actually mind the look of it, but I understand the frustration of if you once had the softer version, because this definitely doesn't feel like super nice if you're into leather. Like, it doesn't have that like soft leathery feel, whereas the Holden does. So if you're someone who is a little bit more picky with like how soft the leather is and stuff, you might like the Holden better, because this one is so soft. Like, this one's really nice, at least to me. I feel like it's pretty soft, at least especially compared to the Malden. One thing I will say I like about this like kind of shiny, like coated finish is that I do feel like it is probably more durable over time. Because like if you spill something on it or if you get a mark on it, I feel like it's super easy to clean, kind of like patent leather. So maybe that is why they changed the cover formula. Like it does still feel nice. Like it feels like nice plush leather. I don't know how good the leather quality is. I mean, the only really like nice leather things that I can compare to are like my like designer bags. But I would say even compared to some of my like expensive bags, this is still like nice leather. I think the coating is what might throw some people off, because it might not be everyone's cup of tea. But yeah, if you are kind of worried about the leather, or that plays a big factor in which one you choose, that's something to consider. The Holden is just a lot softer of a leather, and I know, I can just tell from having a lot of other leather goods, this kind of leather is gonna soften up much more over time. So it is really stiff right now, which is kind of annoying too, because when these planners are stiff, it makes it hard to like lay flat and stuff, but it will soften over time, I believe, at least based on what I've been reading from other people who have owned the Holborn, I keep calling it Holden, Holborn over time. Okay, so let's get into these planners. Let's take a peek inside. So we're gonna start with the Holden, and then I'll show you guys a side by side. So the inside of the Holden has very interesting pocket layouts. It has a long slip pocket here, but also has a long slip pocket on the inside like that. Again, with the contrast stitching all throughout, which I think is very beautiful, and I really like the way that looks. And it has filofax Holborn pocket organizer deluxe leather engraved. I just have this little thing here, but I'll take it out. I kept the little packaging just for fun. But anyway, so you can see the pockets in here. There are 3 slit pockets and then one like larger like pocket in the front. But I think this one's really nice for if you're one of those people who like to have like visual like aesthetic as soon as you open up your planner. These have really nice like pockets. I feel like to have like random things poking out like this. So I had this like little cafe kitsune thing like this, and I thought it was cute. So I think like decorative wise, this is really nice. And you could also do something like, I don't really have like cute pins, but you know, like some people have cute pins, and I feel like you can just kind of like add like your little cute pins here. So I really like the layout of this pocket, to be honest, better than the Malden, which I will show you guys in a sec, but I kind of prefer this decorative, like for decorative purposes, I kind of like this layout a little bit better. I'm not going to show like the inserts and stuff because it's the exact same filofax inserts that you get with all of the filofax planners. Also, I like to take out a lot of the default inserts and like add my own inserts and stuff. So yeah, I'm sure there are videos out there that can show what comes with these planners a little bit better, but I just wanted to show you guys the comparison. I'm just gonna take my little Kaweco pen out so you can see the pen holder. Now this pen holder is, this back part in general is a little bit perplexing because I mean, this pen holder is so thin. I tried to experiment with different pens that could fit in there, and literally the only pen that can fit in there is like one of these jelly roll pens. And even at that, like barely, like it gets stuck. So like, you know, if you know these pens, you know they're super thin already. But like what else can fit in this pen loop, I truly don't know. So what I like to do is I just like using like this Kaweco Sport one because it's small, and I just clip it on there. Well, you guys already saw it, but it's a little bit of a process, but I just clip it on there because like literally nothing can fit. No pen can fit in there. But anyway, so you just have kind of a blank little leather piece in the back, and then you have on the right side, you have another slip pocket. So there's a lot of vertical like slip pockets throughout this planner, which is kind of interesting. And then the other perplexing thing is that there is a zipper compartment, but it's on the inside of this flap. Like it's pretty in there. Like you have to like reach in there to like open it. Hopefully I can show you guys a close-up of it because it's really dark, so it might be hard to see. So yeah, you do have the zipper pocket, which I always like having the zipper pocket with all of filofaxes, but it's just the placement is quite interesting. So you do have that in there if you want to use this as a wallet. I do think it's popular for people to use the Holborn as a wallet, and you can add coins in there. It's just a little bit cumbersome to like get things in and out of there because you kind of have to like reach in, and it's kind of a tight fit. And then you have another slip pocket here. I don't know if I already said that, but there is another one. And then you have the like wallet component, which is like this back big compartment pocket. Good for cash, receipts, ephemeras, etc. So this is a very, very nice travel piece. But I really need to like work into it because it's very, very stiff. So the only annoying thing with this planner right out the box is that it doesn't lay flat for me. With my previous experience with filofax planners and literally like all leather journals, they kind of have to be trained and they will lay flat eventually. This one also, because the pocket, there is like this, you know, this pocket bump, right? So like imagine if my hand is the desk. There is that pocket bump, but this part theoretically should soften up so that it will kind of lay more like this over time. It also helps to just train the leather. So I know this might scare some of you and you might think like, oh no, you're gonna break the leather or you're gonna break the binding or whatever. No, it's not gonna break. Don't worry guys. You want these things to be lived in, right? Like you want these things to be used. So feel free to like just train it a little bit. Just bend it back. Also not, and even just doing that, like look how much of a difference it makes. Like that doesn't fold over nearly as much. Even just doing this a couple of times a day so far has helped it sit on my desk. Because before I couldn't even have it open. Like it would just close on me. That's how stiff it was. But just an FYI, if you are new to these filofax ring planners, don't be afraid to just bend them back a little bit so you can train the leather to sit on your desk. And then here are the rings. So you can see the ring size here is very, very small. I will add the ring size on screen because I don't remember at the top of my head, but they're very, very small. Very, very small. You might also notice that I don't have a lot of papers in here because this is like almost at max capacity of what this can comfortably fit. So there are some pros and cons to the Holborn, and I will get into kind of the cons and stuff and my gripes with both planners like at the end of the video. But first I want to just show you guys the initial like look and comparison first. So with the Malden, like you guys have already seen the exterior. So let's take a look inside. You have a nice little button closure. feels really nice. And this is definitely a little bit more bendy and malleable compared to the Holborn. On the left side here, you have the zipper pocket, which I really like the zipper pocket being here. It's a little bit more convenient. The inside overall has that contrast stitching as well. And the engraving here is flipped horizontally, but it says filofax Malden pocket organizer. And this one says antiqued leather. So the other one says luxe leather, right? Or deluxe leather. So this one says deluxe leather. And in the Malden, it says antiqued leather. So I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I do think it makes sense just from the way it looks kind of distressed and stuff. So it's definitely a look. This one right off the bat, like right out of the packaging, was like super soft and malleable. So maybe that's just how the Malden is. But it is a little bit more like malleable compared to the Holborn, and it does sit on my desk like very well. That being said, I do have a pink Malden that is not soft whatsoever, and I think it's just because the finishing on it is so strong, but hopefully it's different with the black ones, because both of my black filofax Maldens, the personal and now this pocket size, have been pretty soft for the most part, like right out of the box. I don't know, I think that the black ones may just be softer, but those are the only two Maldens I ever owned, the pink one and this one, the black ones. But the pink one was so stiff and it continues to be stiff. So I don't know what the deal is with the pink one, but this feels much, much nicer. I just think that, side tangent, but like, I feel like the filofax is like, filofax has like kind of inconsistent like quality control maybe, because, you know, I had a few over the years, especially the original, and they were always a little bit inconsistent. Like one of them would be much nicer in quality than the others. So that's something to just keep in mind, obviously anecdotal because that's my own personal experience, but you know, and your experience with them might vary, but something that I noticed with buying several filofaxes over the years, like since 2015 or so, and they've all been kind of like different quality wise. Just so you guys have the visual, this is the Malden in pink in question. It is very, very glossy. I mean, I think it looks the same on camera. Also, black will show gloss way better, or like sheen much better than a light color like this. And I absolutely adore the color, but like it is just so stiff. Oops. But it's so stiff. I think it did soften up a bit since I've had it for a year, but this coating is not great. Like at least this, even though it has that high coating, at least it feels kind of soft. This doesn't really feel soft at all. It feels like patent leather. So it's like, I don't know. It's very strange. It's strange how these two are different in quality, even though they're the same type and stuff. But I don't know if it's the color difference or what, but no matter how much I've tried to train this pink one, it just doesn't really soften up. And I could tell that it wasn't going to because of the leather, the way the leather feels. So that's just something to keep in mind. Again, anecdotal, take it with a grain of salt, but that's just been my experience with two of the same pocket filofax Maldens. Whereas both my black Maldens feel pretty similar. So yeah, I don't know what that's about. Okay, so this one has the zipper pocket here, which I like much prefer. It's just more convenient. It has another slip pocket here, and it has another vertical like slip pocket here, and then another one in the back. You can kind of notice the layout like difference right away from the Holden. Whereas the Holden has some like vertical pockets, this one's like all horizontal. This one has 3 pockets as well, like the Holden, but it's all horizontal. And it's like the length of the whole planner. But I like the zipper pocket being here much more than it being hidden. And then in the back, you just have like the leather piece, which I like to just like hang like little random things on as like a little visual piece. And then it has a pocket, a vertical pocket here. And this one also does have a back horizontal pocket like this. So this pen loop is a little bit better than the Holden's very tight and small pen loop, but it is still pretty tight. I still have to like hang the pen. I just have to clip the pen onto it because it is still pretty like small. But it's a little bit better. I think I can fit the Queveco in here, like the base of it. But it's like a tight fit. Okay, I'm not even gonna like force that. But for example, like a Jelly Roll pen fits much easier into this one. So the pen loop I would say is a lot more functional. And then it has the same like top wallet kind of pocket, like big pocket in the back. I kind of prefer the back layout of this one better, but I prefer the front layout of the Holborn better. So it really just depends on your preference for the layouts. But the other thing is, of course, the rings. You might notice right away that the rings are much larger. If you're looking to like fatten up your planner and make it chunky and stuff, you're not going to be able to do that on the Holden as much because it is so tiny. And now to give the comparison of the ring size, you'll really see the difference here. But yeah, so you have the Holden on the bottom and the Malden on top. So notice such a big difference with the ring size. Like it's night and day, really. I'm not sure why Filofax made the Holden rings so much smaller than the Malden rings, but it is quite a big difference. So that is one thing that makes the Holden kind of a con for me, is the ring size. Now I know people who are much more dedicated to ring systems than I am were able to like take out the rings, like you're able to like take them out. I'm not entirely sure how you do it, but I know there is a way to pull out these rings, and I have seen some people change the rings out of these and you know, like put bigger rings into it. Because this planner is also a little bit smaller, if I make it too chunky, I'm wondering if the pages will stick out more or like close to be sticking out, which I wouldn't like. But let me know if it's pretty easy for you to take out the rings and like interchange it. Also, if I do take out the rings, if I decided to do that, I would probably look for gold rings. I just feel like this color is cool, would be cool with gold. Like this is just a random keychain, but I feel like the gold and the dark brown might look really nice together. I don't know. Silver is nice too. And I am a silver girly, but I just think sometimes gold looks nice with brown. So if you know where to get like the perfect like rings replacement, that's the Malden size in like a nice gold or like a brassy color, let me know, because that's my biggest gripe with this. If people are doing that so often with the Holden, which it seems like from the videos and like photos I've seen of other people's Holdens, that it is a very common thing for people to replace the rings. But if it's like, if that is the majority, or if that's like a lot of people that is doing that, like why don't they just replace the rings with something bigger? Because clearly like people want a little bit bigger of a ring. I don't know. I just think it's kind of strange. And I will say, like, out of the two, like, if I could just only keep one of them, I would pick the Holborn, just because I like the way that this one looks a little bit better for, like, my own aesthetic. I mean, and I also have a personal size in this exact same color, so it's, like, I kind of have the same thing already, whereas this one's a little bit different. But that's my only gripe, is that the inside rings is like way too small. But I hope that this helped see the comparison of these two planners. And let me know if you guys own either or if you're on the fence of getting one or the other, and if you are kind of leaning towards one or the other from this video. But yeah, I hope that helped, and thanks for watching.